As a kid, I dreamed of going to a lot of stadiums. It's safe to say, thanks to you guys, this year we have seen a lot already. With some of the most crazy atmospheres. And some of the worst. Before I started this stream, I always tried to do research where I could find the best atmosphere. And I always found nothing. With all the fake excuses and messages I've read this year in the media, it's again time for the one and only truth. You see, from someone that's been to over 100 stadiums and 15 countries, there might be some ratings that surprise you. Even after my first video, people claim that atmosphere is easier created with ultras, flares, capos and drums. In my list and out of my experiences, and trust me now, this is far from true. And since the community of this channel decides seriously everything, I put on my Instagram these stories to let you guys set the boundaries. And the ratings have been made up by the following parameters. 1. Banners and pyro. 2. The noise during the game. And 3. The percentage of full capacity. So here's my top 10 of the worst versus the best atmospheres in 2023. So let us again start with the worst of the worst. English fans in general. And I will keep going with this until I stop seeing this on the web and it's replaced by something like... But seriously, every time I visit them, it's the same excuses and the same awful atmosphere. We are talking about a quarterfinal in the Champions League or an FA Cup, and there is literally nothing. And the most funny or silly part about it is that they claim that pyro is legal in Europe. Of course, it's not. They claim it's more responsive. Well, in Europe, they support the team no matter what, and they don't have to see a goal before creating atmosphere. They still claim to have the best atmosphere. They don't. They claim to have the best football culture. They absolutely don't. And they claim to have the best loops. Okay, yeah, that's true. If you want to see people go nuts after a goal, that's the place to be. At a second place, Bayern Leverkusen. I went to the derby against FC Köln, so you would say that's one of the biggest games of the season for them. That was not really the case. I do respect their ultra block, since they're one of the founders, but the stadium with only a capacity of 30,000 seats wasn't even sold out. When the players entered the pitch, it didn't feel like an important match. And besides all of that, in other blocks there were a lot of Köln fans, and their away sector simply took over. Come on, FC. We stay in Germany because at a third place, Bayern München. Also here, there was a lot at stake, but it simply didn't feel like it. Before the players entered the pitch, there was some, I don't know, confetti? But during the game, I could barely hear the ultra section, and the away fans were much louder, even when they were 4-0 behind. It is a beautiful stadium, and I think with a little bit more passion from all the fans in the stadium, it could be much better. 4. Club Brugge. I went with such high expectations. I mean, quarterfinals in the Champions League for a Belgium side is impressive, but it really felt like a big disappointment. In the city, all I saw was Benfica fans and my new friend. Once we arrived an hour before kickoff at the stadium, there was almost nobody. I do have to say, when the players entered the pitch, the choreo was beautiful. But after that, the Benfica fans took over the stadium with a nice pyro and beautiful songs. We sat on the other side of the field and could still clearly hear them. Isto Benfica, caralho. 5. Twente, Enschede. Please, let me explain. I won't say it's bad, it's just not really loud or crazy. I have been out 2 times to Twente, and I just don't get the hype. Beside the fact they have the best sandwich in the entire world. I mean, it's insane. I went to a European game, which was alright, and to their big clash against Ajax in the Dutch Cup, where there is a lot at stake. I mean, every club wants to win the cup, right? The stadium is quite empty during the warm-up, and during the game the atmosphere just isn't really loud, and it's only coming from one small side. After all the stories I've heard, I just expected more during these big games when I compare it to other clubs and countries. And now it's time for the best of the best. It's been an incredible year again. I met so many kind fans and saw crazy things. Like, literally crazy things. And after deep consideration, here are my official rankings. At 5, Napoli. The moment you enter the city, it feels like it belongs to the club and their fans. It truly is fascinating walking around there. Once you step into the stadium of Diego Armando Maradona, it feels like a warm home. There are 2 ultra sections at each side of the stadium and they both make a lot of noise, and at some points they even involve the entire stadium, which truly gives goosebumps. It looked like there was going to be a draw in the Derby del Sole, but in the last minute Simeone did this, which let the stadium explode. Again, it felt like one big family, which truly was a unique experience. Or Feyenoord Rotterdam. They are the living proof that without ultras and drums you are able to create a hell for your opponent. Hours before the match, the entire stadium had their scarves out and sang songs. They created one of the biggest banners in the world together with hundreds of volunteers. I mean, that shows how these people live for their club. Sometimes it can get a bit messy and quiet during the game, but once the fence starts to push their players forward and they manage to score, it is limbs all over the place. And at the 3rd place, Real Sociedad. Wow, wow, wow. For me, that was simply the highlight of the year. I felt so at home in this city, met loads of nice people, and for those who say the Spanish atmosphere is boring, they are wrong. Before the match there was a nice pre-match atmosphere where fans came together to warm up. When the players walked out on the pitch there was a full stadium choreo, and without flares they let the stadium bounce from the first minute. For me, that's what football is all about. And once they scored there was no stopping. I simply can't wait to be back because te amo España. 2. Legia Warszawa. Their fans are mega loud and so passionate. I gotta say, there wasn't really much to do around the stadium before the match, but once inside the stadium, from the warming up they will let everyone know who they are. Even though there was not a big banner or pyro before the match, their support was simply immense. I mean, just look at that. This is the definition of stadium atmosphere. The entire match they were behind the team, even when they were 2-1 down. They kept singing and jumping, which helped players to make a late equalizer. That's what I call support. And at 1, no surprise, Olympique de Marseille. Simply amazing. Their choreo, banners, pyro, songs, rawness and authenticity is from what I've seen the most impressive. Hours before kickoff they are making the noise, and if someone from the opponent enters the pitch they immediately let them know who they are. I mean, just imagine being a player and walk out in front of this crowd and this choreo. I really felt and saw that the players were willing to give everything for the fans, because the moment Paris Saint-Germain equalized they made even more noise and kept going when this happened. Honestly, this was again goosebumps. For me, the passion of the fans inside the Velodrome is hard to beat. So that's it for this year. From hard setbacks to the most joyful moments. More so, I have never felt more alive. I can't already wait for next season to start. And of course, I'm gonna take you guys with me along the way. However, no break for me. Content is coming your way, so stay tuned. With the support of you guys, I'm just so grateful. We are in this together, because this is only the beginning.